Hey, what up, piggies? Kick back and relax. We're keeping it nice and chill today. Chilly, just like the season. It's very cold. It's dark. I'm a little depressed, but we're gonna get through it. It's all fine. It's all good. It's the end of the year. If you can't tell, I have not pre-written this intro. I don't feel like working very hard today. We're keeping it light. We're keeping it fresh. We're taking a little break from the last episode, part 1, where we made some fun of some very funny people on the internet, and I think it's going well. I think it's doing numbers, and we'll return to that soon. But this week, we got something else. Dave, what have we got this week?
This is our classic Discord Q&A, and I think this is, what is this, number 3?
I think this is the third one. Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. So, we have a Discord, by the way, if you're ever wondering if we had one. We made the executive decision at one point to make a Discord because we thought it would be a unique thing for a podcast to do. So you can join that for free for now. But pretty soon, actually in the new year, we're going to roll out another Patreon tier with a $2 tip jar. And if you want to join the Patreon, you're going to have to pay $2. And times are tough, so get in while the getting's good, because everybody that's in there now, you're locked in.
We've kind of been teasing this ever since we first rolled out the Discord to begin with a long time ago. It's been free to join for like the past year, and going forward, it's going to cost $2. You don't need to pay that every month to stay in there, and if you're already in, you're all good. But you know what? I'm seeing other people make a lot of money off of this, and I think it'll be a good thing to get off our ass and do a little more special stuff in the Discord, make it a little worth it. So consider it.
yeah, consider that, and also consider signing up for a higher Patreon tier. We have a sinister $6 where you can be in the Discord, and you get access to our bonus episodes, which are real knee slappers. Let me tell you what, they're great. And then if you want to go real crazy, you can sign up for Project $20, and you get 2 absolute banger stickers per month, and that'll change your life, let me tell you.
Yeah, we ordered quite a few of those. We've got quite the backlog of stickers, so I think for the next couple months we'll just let people pick any 2 that they want from our stock rather than doing 2 specific ones for everybody. So get in on that while supplies last, and if it goes well, maybe we'll make some more. I would love to do more merch. It's just very costly when you're a small creator on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. So do your part to support small businesses, motherfuckers.
Yeah, I don't know if I told this story on the pod before, but I remember way back like a year ago when we were just like starting this out for the first time. I had like kind of cold feet. Like we didn't know each other as well back then, and I was like, do I really want to commit to this big project? Is this gonna work out? Whatever. And then you told me like, hey, I just spent $8 on like the domain name, and I was like, fuck, we're financially locked in now. I have to do this now. I'm all about that life. So I'm thinking, okay, if people are paying $2 to go into the Discord, that's enough motivation for me to maybe do some special little events, maybe make it extra worth it for people.
Exactly. Yeah. When you wave a couple dollars in our face, we just do anything. Do anything for money.
We'll talk all about the hidden Marxism of podcasters extracting wealth from their proletarian listeners or some dumb shit like that.
Right.
I don't know. We'll see. This is a Q&A episode. All these questions come straight from our Discord. We've got the whole list of them here in a Google Doc, and I guess we're just gonna alternate like we usually do. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Yeah, I might as well start it out here, because my IRL friend Natalie submitted a couple questions, so I'll read both of these. And the first one she asked is, if you could go back in time and stop any one game from ever being created, which one would it be? If it's a first of a series where the events come up again in sequels, it will also erase the rest of that series from existence. Ooh-wee.
This is a good question. It sparked a little bit of a discussion in our Discord, which it shouldn't. That channel's strictly for asking questions, and it's not for you guys. But it did start a good convo, and I've thought long and hard about this. It's like, okay, if you can like wipe out the first game in a series and that takes out the entire franchise, like there are some higher priority targets than others for me.
Yeah, okay. What is it? What's your top?
So I had to think long and hard about this, and I thought, okay, one of the things I hate most in the video game industry is the fucking like Skinner box like open world like slop game, like the Ubisoft bullshit, which is like everybody trying to capitalize off of like Grand Theft Auto or whatever. And I was thinking maybe Grand Theft Auto, because that'll like nip it in the bud, but maybe somebody else will come up with it. So I think, no, I'm going to target Ubisoft a little bit more directly. I want to erase Assassin's Creed, because I think that just like destroys the entire studio and just like a big chunk of the most like boring fucking games that have like plagued the industry for the last like 10 or 15 years or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. I mean, if we're talking about just the second part where you're erasing everything else that happens in the future stemming off that, I'd say like the EA Sports Madden games, just because they like people bitch about like DLC and just like slop coming out all the time, but like I mean, a lot of people don't play sports games, and if they do, they're just fucking locked in and they just consume slop on a just platters of it on a regular basis. But like that was one of the first franchises that really, I mean, like before even like downloadable content was a thing, they kind of had that business model of just like, we just keep releasing bullshit because like you have to get the new season of it, even though the only different thing in this game is like different rosters, which you could easily download.
Or like a slightly different like uniform color for the different teams or some shit like that if it changed or whatever. And it's like, this really didn't need to be a brand new game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I've never been like a big sports head or whatever, and I'm definitely not into sports video games. But from the little bit I've seen of like that corner of the industry, it really feels like, man, I genuinely feel like these guys are getting fleeced for all their money, like even worse than the worst like fucking Genshin Impact like gotcha brain rot people.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I mean, like I could say something like a gotcha game that came into my mind. Just to be spiteful, I was thinking of Dead by Daylight because I just think that game and its community are annoying. But no, like if I'm gonna be doing good for the world, I would say Madden for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one. My other pick for this question was probably going to be any of the Call of Duty games, because I feel
that's
like
what I was thinking as well. Yep.
I don't really like that they kind of like just killed the like first person shooter genre for many years. I think games were a lot more fun back when things were like a little bit less realistic, a little bit more arcadey. I grew up playing like Halo 2 and 3. I was one of the original like Xbox Live like kids calling you slurs over the internet back when that was a novelty. And I think games were just, I don't know, like first person shooters in particular were just a bit more slow, a bit more thought out, a bit less of this like, you have to have like fucking like maximum mouse sensitivity and you just like jump and do like triple flips or whatever, and it's like with and all the guns just have some name that's like a bunch of letters and numbers. I don't know. I don't like that. And I also don't like that the different like game studios and developers that make the Call of Duty games. I don't like how close they are to like the actual fucking like State Department, and how it's like a whole like military propaganda thing. I know there's some of that in other games too, like a lot of the plot of like Halo is basically just like the aliens are like the Muslims, and it's like, oh, this is like the war on terror or whatever. I don't know. There's something there, but I don't know. I just think it's gotten a lot worse with that whole genre of like realistic, like propagandistic, fucking like military fiction or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's a good one too. I think Counter-Strike kind of like pioneered some of the things of just like using real guns, and then like the one shot kill stuff and being a little bit more realistic. But like I never really had a problem with Counter-Strike. I haven't played any of the new ones or anything. It's probably completely brain rotted. But yeah, Call of Duty took it to an extreme where it's not just like a little, fun little game. They took like all the worst aspects of first person shooters and rolled them out into a slot bucket that comes out every year, and you have to buy it because it's fucking epic. Headshot.
Yeah. I'm just not a fan of any of those games, period. Maybe we should move on to the next question.
Okay, the next one that Natalie also said is, if someone offered you $100K a year on the condition that once per year at a completely random and unpredictable time, you'll be subjected to one very painful but minor electric shock, would you take the deal?
Fuck yeah, absolutely, without thinking twice. That's a lot of money for like a relatively small and temporary bit of pain. When she says painful but minor electric shock, I take that to mean like, okay, it's not going to be like lethal at any point. So like, I think I could deal with it.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is like, the question is like how debilitating it is, because like I do drive a car and do things that do require like some sort of precision, or there will be consequences. So like if it's not debilitating and it's just painful and it's just like it's like getting a headache or something, then yeah, absolutely, because one short amount of pain, instead of just like 40 hours a week of pain and working a fucking bullshit job, because I mean you could most people could kind of just live off that 100K for a year.
So I think about that. The driving thing is a good problem, because it's like, okay, I definitely, even if the shock isn't going to kill you, I would not want to like get that right as I'm like driving from my town to the nearby town, because I live up in the fucking mountains, and there are some parts of that highway where it's like, okay, if I just move slightly to the left, I'm going to go like careening off a cliff here to my death or whatever. But then I thought, 100K is a lot of money, and my living expenses are pretty small. I feel like for that much money, I could just get like a roommate or something and be like, hey, you do all the driving. I'll just sit in the passenger side and just give you like $50 or whatever every now and then. I don't know. I think there's ways to get around all the worst possible scenarios of this when you have like 100K to burn.
Yeah, or you could just get a self-driving car like Elon Musk makes, and just you don't have to worry about it. If you're completely debilitated, the car just drives itself.
Yeah, but then you look at like all the problems with those cars, and it's like, okay, I think even if I experience a minor electrical shock, maybe that'll be enough to like shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, well, I mean, worst case scenario, you drive that thing, it drives itself into like a group of school children, and fuck them. Honestly, they weren't gonna. What were they going to do?
I just need to drag out that legal case long enough that my yearly 100K will cover all the lawyer expenses.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, I would take it. I'd roll the dice.
Like, I look at this question and I think basically everybody would take it, with the exception of like let's say somebody who has like heart issues or something, and maybe they have like a pacemaker or whatever, and they're more sensitive to that. Yeah. Then I could understand. But like for 100K, I think most people would take it. I think for any amount higher than that, like almost 100% of people would take that deal.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing that I was thinking with this one is like there might be, and I think you would get used to this after a while, but there might be like a kind of an element of like psychological torture, where it's just like something is gonna come, but you never know when it's coming, so you're kind of just like on edge the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
There's
think
that
it
too.
being
but,
minor but painful is kind of the is kind of the, it would have to be like a little bit more severe.
do you think it would be better or worse if you divided that 100K into 12 and you dealt with this electric shock like once every month? Do you think that would make it better or worse?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because on the one hand, right, you are getting it more often for the same amount of money. So that is objectively worse. But also, like, if you know there's going to be at least a couple weeks between the shocks, it becomes at least, like, semi-predictable, right? So maybe that takes some of the edge off.
Yeah. So and then like after the shock happens, then you can like breathe a sigh of relief and go about your days. But until then, you're just waiting for your payout. You're waiting for the shock.
Unless the shock comes on like December 31st, and then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm the next one might come at any moment. You know what I mean? So
right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's one to think about. But I would probably take it. Fuck it.
I would definitely take it, especially looking at the lack of income I've been making over the last couple months. I think I would put up with a lot of bullshit for that. I think there are a lot of people who do so much worse to their bodies than that for like so much less than 100K every year. I think I should know my place and be grateful.
Yeah, for sure. All right, you can read the next one.
All right, fuck yeah. Okay, this is a question from our boy Weasel who asks. Oh, okay, it's this question. All right, here we go. Weasel asks, when you guys listen to music and sing along, do you sing the slurs too? And if not, do you still say them in your head? What if you're alone and nobody is listening? Banger question. Thank you so much, Weasel. How are you going to answer this one?
I say the slurs for sure. If I'm in public, if I'm at like a rap club that's playing hip hop, no, I don't say them because like I don't like, to me, I don't think it's like egregious because you're not saying them with any sort of malice. You're singing along to a song. But I mean, there are people who will be like upset or uncomfortable by that. But
I don't want to draw attention away from our show towards other podcasts, so I won't say where I heard this, but I was listening to two guys talk about this very recently, and for context, it was a white guy and a black guy, and the white guy was describing a similar thing about this because they were talking about rap music or whatever, and he proposed something called like the buddy system with this, where both of you are like singing along to the song or whatever, you're rapping the verses and all that, and when the word comes up, if you're the white guy, you can just like shut up for a second and just be the hype man for your friend and just be like, yeah, whatever, and just move your hands or whatever and hype them up and let them say it for you, which seems like the safest way to go about it.
Yeah, you just take the invisible mic from your mouth and you point it towards a crowd and you let them say that, and then you continue on. That's the way to go, actually.
I think this is much better than any of the alternatives I've seen where it's like, oh, say like neighbor or something instead of the word.
No, fuck that.
Don't do that.
Just don't say it or say it. Don't say the fucking radio edit instead. That's just corny, man. Don't do that.
Yeah, I was following something in the Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef, and Kendrick was saying like, yeah, he doesn't like how the way that Drake says the N-word, and it's like, yeah, I've heard him say it and I don't like it either. It sounds weird coming out of Drake's mouth. It feels like he does not have the pass in spite of
No, I don't think so. Yeah, Drake is spiritually very, very white, so it's weird. It's weird.
I don't know how ingrained this is for Americans, right? But I say this as somebody who is Canadian who grew up in Canada. To me, for most of my life, before he was like a big famous musician or whatever, Drake was like the wheelchair kid from Degrassi.
Wheelchair Jimmy. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. So it's like, I don't know. It's just a whole thing. As for my answer to this question, Weasel, I don't actually listen to any music that has slurs in it, so I have to add the slurs myself. So I do just say it.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
sometimes I pepper some in, but it's only about Romanian people.
Yeah, I have a whole slew of slurs for the different Balkans that I've sworn like a blood feud against.
Yeah, because you taught me all of them. So before you say I'm being I'm being racist towards my podcast host, co-host, like no.
Yeah,
I learned them from watching you.
It's cool, guys. I gave him the pass.
Right, yeah. I got it laminated and everything. It's fine. I got proof.
We got a very seasonal question for the next one.
Okay, so this is from our homie Trash Bins and previous guest, our first guest, by the way. Best and worst Thanksgiving or holiday dish?
I think we're gonna have to answer for the holidays because you can tell we kind of took a while to answer these questions.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll talk about Thanksgiving as an American. I don't know what your
So I'm kind of conflicted because like I am Canadian, but also I am the child of like an immigrant family. So like we never like fully integrated with a lot of things. Like for me, every year, like Thanksgiving is just like my mom will make a slightly nicer dinner than the rest of the year. So it's like I don't know. I don't really have strong Thanksgiving traditions one way or the other.
Yeah, like my family does kind of a somewhat normal. It's not like a Norman Rockwellian like Thanksgiving, but there are traditional dishes there.
Do you guys say grace?
Yeah. Fuck no, nothing like that. It's like a buffet style, and everybody sits at a random spot, and then it is
so
shit.
weird. Sorry, this is a little bit of a tangent, but like in my house, like we were never like super religious, but my family was like Orthodox Christian or whatever. We use like the Eastern European like version of like Christian holidays or whatever. But in spite of that, like we're not super religious or whatever. We've never done like prayers before dinner or saying grace or whatever in my entire life. But some of my extended family, like my aunt and uncle who still live near me to this day, I guess in the last couple years, for some reason, they've just had their brains rotted by Facebook or whatever, and they've become significantly more like conservative and religious than they used to be. And they were at our house for like Christmas like a few years ago, and for the first time in my life they were like, can we say grace before dinner? And I was this is like an alien experience for me. Like you guys came to our house to eat our food that we ate, and it was like we made a nicer like holiday dinner than you, and it's like, okay, I don't know. It was just a weird vibe for me. I've never been at a table that does that before, but anyway.
That is weird, honestly. Like, if you're hosting, you can make people do whatever the fuck you want, but it's weird to go to somebody else's place and be like, oh, we need to observe these traditions. Like, man.
I was polite about it. I just shut up. I just stayed quiet for like 30 seconds, and I was like, okay, whatever. So.
Yeah. For sure. But all right, I'll talk about worst Thanksgiving dish. I'm a huge turkey hater, man. I think turkey is like
sucks.
Turkey fucking sucks, man. You want to eat a bird? There are multiple other birds that go way harder than a turkey. You want to make a duck? Let's go. You want a chicken? Sure, fine. Even some Cornish game hens, whatever. That's fine. But turkey is like, it's fucking gross. It's boring. It's very it's fucking dry. And people are gonna say, oh, the fucking dark meat. But it doesn't taste good. Like, I'm sorry, they're not great. I don't like turkey. That's all I'm saying.
I think turkey is okay, but like you have to do so much other stuff to like make it like serviceable, like stuffing or like gravy or whatever. And it's like, okay, that does make it better. That does even make it like pretty good in my opinion. But even then, it's like, I don't know. It's just like a bland vessel for like better ingredients, you know?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan. If we're talking about best, like there's always at my family holiday parties, there's always everybody makes like something different. I will say from this Christmas, my mom gave me like 3/4 of a trail of lasagna that didn't get eaten, and I have spent like the last several days since Christmas just eating that like twice a day, and it fucking ruled. Lasagna is great.
Yeah, yeah, of course you would say that. I don't know.
Hey.
I've been in that situation before, and I always feel like I go through this roller coaster where at first it's like, oh wow, all this like great leftover food just for me. Wow, thank you. That's awesome. I'm gonna enjoy this for a few days, and then it's like, oh, I'm eating this like I've had this for like the last 6 meals over however many days, and it's like, oh, now I'm kind of sick of it. This is a little too much. I don't know. It just happens every time.
I hear that, but if it's good enough though, and if it's something I don't eat regularly, which in the case of that, yeah, I can do it for like 5 days. Probably 5 days.
That's fair. That's fair. I think I'm a little more picky. I think I usually tap out of eating the same thing after like 3. But regardless,
Yeah.
I thought I'd take this time to shout out some of my favorite dishes that my mom makes every year. So some of these are like Romanian things that I don't think have a great like English translation or whatever. So I'm gonna link you one of these. These are called cornulettes, which is like a Romanian like bow tie cookie with like you can put like jam or like baked Turkish delights or whatever in the middle. They're really great. You can look it up. Cornulete. It's like we always make them out of little Turkish delights, and it's just like we have like 100 of these fucking things. They're just like really nice little bite-sized things. They're like crispy on the outside. They're nice and sweet and gooey in the middle, and it's like fucking amazing. I love these. I actually have a couple right next to me right now that I've been trying to very quietly eat while Dave answers questions.
Yeah, that's cool that you stole cannoli from my people and then tried to pass it off as your own thing.
No, we did it first. Romania #1.
Right. Exactly.
Shout out to another one. I know people have definitely heard of this. I'm a big sucker for baklava. I fucking love baklava.
Oh, dude, that's a best dessert.
Oh, it's
like,
so good. I have a couple of those next
question.
to me as well, and I'm just gonna like devour them the next time Dave talks for more than like 30 seconds.
Yeah, good choices.
Yeah, there's another one. Let me make sure I'm spelling it correctly. It's like a sweet bread. It's called kozonak, and it's like a chocolatey whatever kind of bread with like swirls of chocolate in the middle. I don't know if this is the standard recipe. It's like a Bulgarian thing apparently. But my mom also bakes these with little Turkish delights in the middle, and it's just amazing. It's just a nice little like desserty kind of bread dish.
That does look. I'm not a big bread enjoyer, but there seems to be enough going on with that I would enjoy a slice.
It would be a little boring if it's just like the default recipe, but like I said, we always make it with Turkish delights in there, and I will say the ones my mom makes are way better than what I'm seeing on the Wikipedia page here. So
yeah, it's an apt name because the Turkish delights are truly delightful.
Yeah, they're very good. They're very good. And yeah, as for worst things, I don't know. I just agree with you. I think turkey is just like kind of a dog shit like holiday thing. I don't know.
Turkey haters. A bunch of turkey lovers are going to be in the comments trying to brigade the Discord. Pretty soon you're going to have to pay $2 before you brigade there, and so get your licks in, bud.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know. Turkey can be okay. I think if you can put up with it, it is like a pretty lean meat. It's pretty all right on like diet wise. But other than that, I don't know. Holidays should be about pegging out a little bit, if you ask me.
Exactly. Are we eating diet food?
Yeah,
fucking holidays.
Exactly. It's very dumb. Anyway, next question. Snacky asks, how old were you when you learned the truth about Santa Claus, or are you guys Santa deniers? That's a good question.
I don't know when exactly it was. But I think I was like 15 or 16 when I figured that out. And I'm really still not sure that he's not real.
I mean, they've got what is it, the space agency, the fucking NORAD or whatever, tracking it. Like the military would just lie to us.
Trust the science, guys. Trust the science.
Exactly. Pay no mind to which countries. Wow, what a Freudian slip. Which countries Santa decides to stop by in, and how they're all very wealthy and white and first world.
Yeah, exactly. He's not going to Afghanistan after he got shot down during the first conflict. the one with the Soviets.
Yeah, it's very bizarre to me to think about how like our modern conception of Santa is like mostly a product of like a Coca-Cola marketing campaign. That seems kind of insane to me.
Yeah, that is weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
We should bring Krampus back instead.
That would be great. I've apparently there was a movie that came out recently. It's starring what's his name? The Rock. What's the
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
It was called like Red One or something like that, and it's like a dumb Christmas movie, except it's like, oh, they're all like tactical gear, like action movie combat guys or whatever. And I just remember watching some YouTubers talk about it, and Krampus shows up in that movie, and he's like 9 foot tall and like made to appeal to monster fuckers on the internet, which is incredibly funny to me. He's just like bulging and ripped. And I don't know. I'm not into men, by the way.
Finally, Hollywood understands how to like appeal to a broader audience. Finally, they're figuring it out. Slowly.
From what I've heard, the movie is like it might fall into the so dumb it's kind of good tier. So I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it.
I saw a trailer and I was like, this looks like stupid fun. Like it doesn't look like
it's very stupid, but yeah. Okay, so for the next whole batch of questions, this isn't going to be all of them, but I had the bright idea to ask our Discord server, okay, we're doing an end-of-year, like, Q&A thing, so ask your questions in the form of, like, an award show sort of thing. Like, we had the Game Awards recently, so what was the most X of Y, or blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
So maybe you can take this first one.
Okay, so Snacky again asks, video game of the year.
Oh, that's a hard pick. There was a lot of pretty decent stuff that came out this year. I feel like I'm a bit of a. Some people are going to be upset about this, but both of my answers are like DLCs to existing games, so I don't know.
Oh God! All right, go ahead.
Okay, my boring answer is Shadow of the Erdtree for Elden Ring. It's just good. Everybody loves it. I don't know. That's an uncontroversial answer. My more hot take game of the year pick would be the Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors, which like basically doubles the size of the entire fucking game. And it's just like a really wacky thing because like the entire vibe and aesthetic of Vampire Survivors is like, oh, this is like a Castlevania thing with like the numbers filed off. And now that the game has gotten so big as like a little indie gem, it's gotten so successful that they've managed to collab with like the real franchise that originally inspired it. It's just a very, I don't know. I had a blast playing that for a couple days. It's really good.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I actually never played that game, but I've seen some gameplay footage. It looks cool. It looks fun.
It's
looks
one
like
of those
something I might
games
get
that's
down
like,
on.
oh, this costs like $3 and all the DLC is like $5 and it will like consume your life for a month.
Right. Yeah, I do like the roguelikes, which so unrelated to that, I would say Black Myth Wukong just because it's not woke.
Yeah, true. I like that they're finally giving a main character role to the most underrepresented minority, which is monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. they've had their voices silenced for way too long, living in zoos and shit. Bring them out. Bring them out.
Yeah, apes together strong, everybody. Listen to our last bonus episode. I think we riffed a little bit about Wukong in there as well.
Yeah. But my actual answer, Balatro all the way. That game came out of fucking nowhere and swept the world.
I think there was an actual award or two that it won at the Game Awards, and that made some people very upset because it's like, how dare this indie thing win? You know?
I think it was best indie game, which like obviously, but
I think so too.
Yeah. But no, it's good. It's interesting. It's unique, and I think that's one of the reasons it caught on so much because like it is a good little indie game, and there's a lot. There's a like it's kind of like a like you can make as much of it as you want to, and some people go fucking insane trying to like, like make the craziest hand or something like that. Or and some people just play it and try to get all the achievements and unlock everything or whatever. But one of the actual reasons that I think this game is great is because it's fucking unique. And in the if you didn't know. In the sphere of games and even indie games, there's not a lot of original thought out there. So, fucking Local Thunk, hats off to you. Balatro, it's a good game. If you're on the fence about it, give it a fucking try. I like it quite a bit. I actually played a couple rounds today, trying to do the Joker list challenge. Got all the other ones, but that one is fucking hard, man. Fuck.
Yeah, that sounds great. This is actually a perfect segue into the next question. Trashbins asks, what are your favorite Jokers in Balatro? And I'm just going to let you like nerd out about it for another minute or two while I enjoy some sweet baklava.
Shit, that's hard. That's hard to say. Favorite Jokers in Balatro. I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what's going on there. I do like I don't know, like a Baron or something like that. I don't want to fucking talk about Jokers in Balatro. This isn't a Balatro stream.
I'm the Joker, baby.
I'm the Joker. No, I like the basic. I like the basic Joker. Just gives you +4 mult. You just ride that bitch right to the fucking end, baby. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need. If you're good at playing the game.
I was thinking about watching the new Joker movie just because I heard it's like really, really bad, but I don't know if it's just like regular bad or like so bad that it's kind of good. I just know it made a lot of people very upset.
I thought about watching it too, but I didn't, and I don't know if I ever will, because like I don't know, like when there's too many memes about a movie, it kind of ruins it for me. Like, I've never watched, and I know, like, Morbius is bad, but I'm not really, like, a bad movie watcher. I don't know, if I want to watch something, maybe it's fun with other people, but I usually just watch movies by myself before I go to bed, and I don't want to, like, sit through, like, 2 hours of fucking garbage to be like, oh, I understand the memes now, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah, I think watching it with other people can make even the worst like movie experience a lot of fun. I remember back when I was in high school, before they condemned the local movie theater within walking distance of my school, I went to watch, I think it was like either the first or second Paranormal Activity movie with like a group of my friends, and those are not good horror movies. They're not even really like in the so bad it's kind of good tier. They're just kind of like stupid or whatever. But as you might know, the premise of those movies is like, oh, it's like a security camera footage of the house and like, oh, invisible ghost makes things happen. And we were like a group of like 5 or 6 people, the only people in the theater at the time. It was like a pretty late night showing. We were just all sitting there in the back, just laughing our asses off because the movie was so predictable that me and my friends could like reach out our hands in front of us and like flick our wrists at the right time to make it look like we were like magically knocking off things on the shelves in that movie. And it was a great time. Terrible movie, but I have very fond memories of watching it.
Yeah. Terrible movies with friends, good. Terrible movies alone, I don't quite get it. It's not. It doesn't really give me any pleasure.
Yeah, I also feel similarly about the whole thing about like, oh, sometimes the fandom will like ruin a thing for me because like consciously I know like, okay, what people do with it after the fact shouldn't affect my opinion on like a work of art or something like that. I know that's the reasonable, like mature take. But at the same time, I look at some of the experiences I've had, like playing like Final Fantasy 14 or whatever, where sometimes there are characters in that game where it's like, oh, I think this is a wonderful villain. Oh, I really like this character's like arc over this expansion or whatever. But then it's like, okay, that was in 2017. And like for the last like 6-7 years, whatever, I've seen nothing of this character character, but like people doing like shirtless art of them, and it's like, oh wow, I really wish my husband would like impregnate my little cat girl or something like that. And it's like, yeah, this has kind of ruined it for me. I kind of don't like this character anymore. I kind of feel worse about this thing that I originally had like a good vibe about, and that's just, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I like all the new norm hentai that is out there, because it's
right.
like and not only does nobody actually like that show, but you're just ruining it on top of it, and that's great. New norm hentai drawers, you're doing God's work out there.
Yeah, keep it up, soldiers. Next question is I think you're asking the next one.
Okay, Snacky asks, worst meal you've had all year.
I've had a lot of struggle meals this year. Some days there's just not a whole lot to eat in the house. And I don't know, some people are going to say like, oh, this is perfectly normal, or some people are going to be disgusted by this. But one of my go-to snacks when there's nothing else to have is I will just make a piece of toast, and then I will put like a little bit of mayo on it, and like I'm good, and that's all I need, just like mayo toast, and it's like a perfectly filling snack. But it also sucks.
Butter in your house?
I do put butter on it sometimes, but it's like, oh, that's really fatty, so I don't do that all the time. I only add the butter when I'm feeling like treating myself in otherwise like fucking poverty conditions.
Is butter fattier than mayo though? I mean, they're both like oil, basically.
It would not surprise me if they're like similarly bad, but I think the butter is probably worse. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to crunch numbers on that. Jamie, pull that shit up. What's a nutrition?
Yeah, either way, I don't know. I'm not proud of it. It's not really good, but it is filling, and that's probably the most like shit ass meal that I subject myself to at least once a month.
Yeah, that sounds not that great. I don't have an answer to this. I don't like. I've had probably like some that are worse than others, but I don't like. I haven't had like a memorably bad meal. I guess I'm privileged like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like most of the time, if like, I don't know, say my mom cooks something that I just am not a fan of or whatever, I will just like skip dinner that day. I don't know. I don't have to put up with bad meals all the time. I don't know. Maybe that sounds very privileged of me as well, but still.
Yeah, I mean, I do most of the cooking for myself, so that's basically it. I don't eat out that much lately, and if I do, it's at least passable. So I can't be too mad about it.
Yeah, I eat out maybe like 2 or 3 times a year because there just isn't a whole lot of stuff out where I live. But regardless. Yeah. Next question. I'm a big fan of this one. Clam asks, what is your favorite bug?
Okay, favorite bug. It's a toss-up between bee or ant. I would have to lean bee, though, just because bees like do more for humanity. As far as producing honey, which is delicious.
I do love bees, and they're very cute.
Yeah. And pollinating flowers and all that type of shit. Fucking save the bees, baby. I just think ants are cool.
Sometimes I will go down like a YouTube rabbit hole where I just watch like beekeepers or like guys who like they remove like bee colonies from like the inside of people's walls or whatever, and it's like I will just watch that shit for hours, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, I got a friend who's his parents live kind of out in the sticks, and they have like an apiary. They keep bees and they harvest honey and they make mead with it too, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, we got a lot of people like that out here. Just the other day, my mom got a little gift from one of her coworkers who does own their own apiary. We got like a jar of like freshly harvested honey, and it's really fucking good.
It's fire, and it's like pretty, like there are like health benefits and shit on top of everything, and it's like, yeah, I mean, I had a mild cold for like the past week. It was like not very severe, but just kind of like annoying. And honey got me through some of the toughest days. I know God gives his hardest struggles to his strongest soldiers, which is me, obviously, but the bees helped me out during that struggle, and all of the hardworking honey makers and beekeepers out there. Hats off to all of you.
Hell yeah. I was a little more specific with my answers. I have two favorite bugs. One of them is the Hercules beetle, because one, beetles are just very cute and just like interesting in general. And like I looked it up. The Hercules beetle is just like, it's so fucking big. It's just like a big fuck off big bug. Like it doesn't give a shit about anything. You can't do anything to these guys. They're amazing.
Oh, I gotta look that up. What's a
Hercules beetle? It's one of the really big ones. It's got like two big like horns or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a big boy.
That's a fucking tank of a bug right there. The other one, I like a lot of different kinds of moths. Moths are very cool, especially the big ones. Like the small ones can be like very annoying late at night, but
yeah.
Some of the cooler big ones I've looked up is one, the Death's Head moth, which one, very cool, very edgelord sort of name. It's like a dark, like black brown kind of yellow one, and like it looks like
it's got like a skull on the back of it.
Yeah, that's where it gets its name. And
that's crazy.
I'm also a big fan of the white witch moth, which is just like a really big like white moth. It's just very bright and has a very pretty color scheme to it.
Oh yeah. It's kind of bird-like in nature.
Yeah, I don't know. They're just very, very cool creatures. And I think, everybody's like, oh, butterflies are nicer. But I think, like, if you ever look at a butterfly up close under, like, a microscope, I guess you don't really need a microscope, but, like, their faces are kind of gross and nasty. And, like, I think, like, the bigger moths up close, they just look like cute little guys. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. No, those are good. Those are good choices. Very good choices.
Yeah, big fan of those.
Well, since you're a butterfly hater, I'll throw a quick anecdote in there. So when I was like little, and we had this crazy cat that was like feral, and we adopted it. And one time I saw this fucking cat jump. There was a butterfly flying around. The cat jumped up, pinned it down by its wings from midair, and like ate its body and just left the wings there. And I was like, that is the most fucking metal shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, absolutely fucking savage.
Cats are so interesting because they're just like cute little guys that we've domesticated, but like if you think about it, they behave almost the exact same way as like big fucking like wild cats.
Oh, they're
like
menaces.
Lions and shit.
They're menaces.
They're wild at heart. And at the same time, it's also of course very cute when you go onto like, I don't know, TikTok or some shit and you see, oh, this video of like the big lion or whatever still wants to sit in the cardboard box like a little cat. That's also very funny.
But if they get the need, they might just fucking eat you. They might just maul you for like no reason.
I mean, regular cats do that as well. You pet them in the wrong place and they'll like slice you up.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
Good question, Clam.
Yeah. We got a very specific question for this next one.
All right, so next one is from Figment. Most contemptible beetle of the year.
Yeah, and this was a capital B Beetle, so we're talking about the band. And
we're not talking about bugs.
Yeah, but fun segue with those questions next to each other.
Yes,
yeah. So I had to look up which of them are still alive, and it looks like Ringo Starr and Paul McCartney are still alive. And I will be honest, I'm not a big music head. I don't really know a whole lot about Paul McCartney, but I will have to give it to Ringo Starr because. Have you ever seen the artwork that he posts to his like little personal website?
No. Is it bad?
Oh my god. Oh, it's so bad. It's awful. Let me Google Ringo Starr art and I'll show you some of this.
All right.
It's just like, one, it's really bad. A lot of it is like MS Paint art, but also like he's a big influential music guy, so he's like, oh, I called this one Untitled because when you open the program, that's what you have to give it a title or whatever.
Oh wow. It's fucking deep, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So these go. He's still at it. These go all the way from 2005 to 2023. Here's the link in our DMs. These are the earliest ones, which I think are some of the worst. But
oh wow,
you guys gotta look up Ringo Starr art if you've never seen this before.
Oh shit. Well, yeah.
And in the top right, there's like a gallery, and you can look at the different years. A lot of them, especially in like the later years, are just like really cheap, tacky, like almost like Pinterest or like Etsy level, like fucking like stencil art, where it's like, oh, it's like the peace sign, or oh, it's like a neon colored revolver, but the barrel's tied into a knot, and there's a peace sign, and oh, there's like a star over the American flag. It's just like, this is just the most like burnt out, like washed up, like this guy is not with it anymore.
in like, okay, like if you're just making this for your own pleasure and whatever, that's fine, cool. But no, when you look at this website, it immediately tries to send you to like buy these prints, which are what would you expect for an MS Paint digital print? $2,000 for Hat Man, which is something that I could make in MS Paint probably. And I know art has, it's like when somebody like puts a fucking cum on paper and they sell it for $2 million. It's like, I could do that. It's like, no, dude, these are clearly like not.
I try to not be one of those like fucking like 50 IQ people that's like, oh, modern art is so stupid, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like the only thing that makes any of this art significant at all is that Ringo Starr was in one of the most famous bands of all time.
100%.
I don't know if you've seen this, but my favorite feature of the website is if you scroll down, there's like the most like vapid, like nothing quote on each of these pages, and I'm just gonna share some of my favorites here in our DMs. I'm just gonna read these aloud. One of them goes, "In 2005, we started with my first public exhibition, and it was exciting and just great." And that's the entire quote.
That's a crazy quote, man. That really makes me think about.
Everyone in the audience knows I love them, and they love me. It's a total love fest. Wow, that's fucking brilliant, dude. That's amazing.
Fucking
that's so
awesome.
Great. Good for you.
Yeah. We're just all loving each other here.
I did some painting in the 60s, but I had a lot of other things to do. I was a little busy. Wow, that's so
Holy
profound,
shit.
dude. Fuck you, for real.
Wow. Yeah.
For all
Well,
I know,
fuck.
maybe Paul McCartney has done something really bad that I'm just not aware of, but I have to give the answer to Ringo Starr, fuck this guy.
Yeah. Well, I was not aware of this art at all, so I'm totally with you on that one. But I my answer was going to be Paul, just because I watched the there was some interview series with him. I don't know if it was on fucking Hulu or what, and it was with fucking Rick Rubin. I was gonna say
Dave Rubin would be fucking hilarious.
No, Rick Rubin, like the producer guy, and Paul, he just seems so fucking pretentious. Just so fucking pretentious. It's like, okay, yeah, like you were in the Beatles, like you're allowed to be a little bit pretentious, but it's just like, why, man? Like, why are you this way? Like, I don't know.
I know they've kind of fallen from grace in a lot of ways, but I don't think McCartney is like so low these days that he would do an interview with Dave Rubin of all people, of the new Norm fame.
Yeah. I'm sure he hates wokeness in his own way, but he's an old fucking washed up shit. So they all do. So.
Yeah, either way, shout out to Figment who asked this question. One of my personal friends, I don't actually know what was going on with this question, but I will ask him about it. And if you're listening now, I hope you're satisfied. We found things to hate about both of the remaining living Beatles.
Yeah, there you go. And George is a good one, by the way. Fuck John. We all know why.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that.
Right.
Yeah, gone too soon. Anyway, next one. I don't even remember whose turn it is.
I think it's you.
Okay, this is a question from Mr. Universe Squid. Shout out to you. The question goes, what happened this year that shocked you the most? And I really had to think on this one a little bit.
Do you have an answer?
I have some very boring answers and some kind of trite, kind of vapid answers. I was going to say the obvious thing that kind of shocked me the most is, like, I guess either Trump won the election, but like fuck it, we've talked enough about politics. There's nothing really new to say about that.
It's really not that shocking, honestly, when you think.
I mean, in hindsight,
Yeah.
no. But I still remember we were hanging out with some of our buddies in VC, and like that was a pretty bummer night.
Yeah.
The other thing, I guess, more recently, the whole like CEO shooting to our boy, local folk hero, Luigi Mangione, #1 on Super Despair World. Man, they're gonna throw the book at that guy. That was a whole wild thing.
Yeah, that was my answer as well. And it's not just like a CEO got shot. It was like the way it happened, and then like as the news unfolded, it just got more and more absurd. I mean, once it dropped that his name was fucking Luigi Mangione, that just fucking floored me, man. Like
we've definitely been adding a few little emojis in our various Discord servers in honor and in memory.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, my sister was just in New York City, and she stopped by the Nintendo store, and she got me a little Luigi plushie, and I've been 3D printing
that's so good,
a gun to put in his hand.
Oh, I love that.
It's great.
I've been really tempted to order myself like a little Luigi hat somewhere. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I was joking with some friends like, is Nintendo gonna do anything about this? But no, I don't think they're gonna give a shit. I think they're too Japanese and too
they can't
money
copyright a man's name. Is a real name?
No, but I meant like, are they gonna like stop selling like Luigi merch or something?
Oh
no,
right, yeah.
No. That was a foolish thing to say on my part.
No shot.
As for me, I guess the more trite answer to the most shocking thing this year, I had Korean food for the first time, and I was not prepared for how fucking good it would be. I was told beforehand it's pretty banging, but like, man, that might have been the best meal of my life I had a couple months ago.
Yeah, no, Koreans know how to do. They know how to do food, let me tell you.
The local Korean place next to me doesn't even have like a very big menu. I'm pretty sure I showed you the menu there. There's like 6 things on it, and I had like 3 of them, and it was still like fucking impeccable. It was so good. I really want to go back.
And there's a shit ton they have to offer, but I mean, yeah, I'd rather go to a place and they do 6 things and they do it right than the other way around.
Exactly. Shall we move on then to the next one?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Okay, so Figment asks, most embarrassing item on one of your end-of-year app recaps.
So I made the mistake. I did not screenshot the end-of-the-year like recap thing from Steam telling me what games I've been playing or whatever, but I did take a look at it. And are you familiar at all with something called a Suika game?
No.
It's like a game. It's like one of these like really tiny little time waster games where you drop little bits of fruit into a box, and like you start with small fruit, and then when 2 of the same one collide into each other, they combine into a bigger fruit, and at the end they turn into the Suika, which I think is like Russian or some shit for like watermelon, because that's like the biggest fruit.
Yeah.
And I've just been playing like dozens of hours of so many of these. It's like my turn my brain off and just do this while like listening to like a slop YouTube video for like 3 hours kind of deal. And I haven't touched it in a few months, but I think I have like 20 or 30 hours into just one of those.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't have a good answer for this one either. I don't really use like streaming. I don't have Spotify. I use YouTube Music occasionally, but like not that much. I didn't even look at the recap. And with Steam, the end of the year, it was just like you played a lot of Balatro, and then and Shogun Showdown to a lesser extent. Oh, but although I will say it was a curious thing about my Steam recap was that it was like you played these genres, and it was like roguelike, deck builder, whatever, which that makes sense. And then like number 4 or 5 was like MOBA, and it's like, where did you get this from? I don't play any MOBAs, and I don't think I did. I think I installed Dota for like 2 seconds because I was looking for a game to play with my friend who plays League, and I refused to play that. And I played like 3 to 10 minutes of it, and I was like, this sucks, and just uninstalled it. So I don't know. Maybe it got that from that, but yeah. I mean, I guess that's, yeah.
I was having a convo with some friends lately about how there are some like entire genres of games that are just like, oh, these are like the autism spectrum games or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like any of the like Paradox interactive like map games like Hearts of Iron or like Crusader Kings or whatever.
Yeah.
No judgment to any of those except Hearts of Iron 4 because it has a lot of like weird Nazis that just want to play as the Nazis and like win or whatever. I have friends who are into those other games, and it's like, yeah, this is like an entire company who's like, oh, their business model is just making products for very autistic people, which like, hey, good for them. But I bring this up because you were listing some of those genres, and it was like, oh, roguelike, deck builder, all those things. And I was like, man, that's like, those are like the ADHD genre games.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why I like them. Is I like games where you can play like a session. That's probably why I play like a lot of roguelikes. Not even necessarily deck builders, but because I can play for 30-45 minutes and like put it down and like that, and that's it. Because I did I either won or lost, or maybe I do too, but like I have very little interest in playing like 40-hour epic quests where you have to like, because I get too like hyper fixated on shit, I guess, and it's like I don't really want to like start this. Because I'm not gonna finish it.
I get it. This has been on my mind a lot lately because back at the Game Awards, they announced the new Elden Ring game, Night Rain, and a lot of people were very like iffy about it because it's like, oh, it's like pre-made characters and it's like a roguelike thing, and the map shrinks like a what do you call them? A fucking like battle royale game or whatever. Yeah. And people were like, oh, this is like this is like FromSoft doing like a Dark Souls, Elden Ring, like cash grab, whatever bullshit. But a lot of stuff has come out about the game since then, and like I think it's won me over because I was listening to them talk about like the design and their goals of it or whatever. They were like, yeah, we want to take like all the like the core of what you get in like a Dark Souls or Elden Ring or like Bloodborne, whatever sort of game, and condense it down into like 15-minute sessions without any of the like hours of like running around in circles or like dying to the same thing over and over again. I was like, oh yeah, if you're taking like this genre that I already like and making it into like a new thing that's like more digestible in like 15-30 minute like segments of playing it with some friends. I think that's actually awesome, so I'm very hyped for the new one.
No, I think that's cool. Actually, I didn't know that. That sounds much more appealing that's part of the reason why I hate like the when everybody just starts sway facing when anything is called open world, because it's just like, oh, cool. Like I don't, for me personally, I don't really find running around aimlessly clicking on shit to be very fun. In like open world was groundbreaking in like 2002, but now it's just like it's usually code for like nothing game. Or like a linear game where you like have chores to do.
Yeah, like a big empty map, and like I guess there are icons on the map, and you just have to like, they're just like copy pasted activities. There's like 6 actual unique like mini games or game modes or whatever, but they have like 500 icons or some shit.
Yeah, I'm good on all that. I don't really.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand fully why that's like captivated some people so much, because like I remember playing like a Grand Theft Auto game for the first time when I was a kid, and I was fucking hooked. I understand fully why that's like sunk its teeth into a lot of people, but I don't know. Regardless, let's move on to the next one. I think it's my turn, so let's go. Another question from Figment, who asks, game you've played the least over the past year. And this seems like a bit of a joke question at first, but I do have some serious answers to it.
Well, I'll say League of Legends, and thank God that I came into my senses a year or two ago and just like never played that shit again, because I've talked about that game here before, but like if you play League, or if you're thinking about more importantly, if you're thinking about getting into League, because I've heard a few people and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna start playing League." It's like, what the fuck are you? It's like seeing somebody like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna start doing heroin." It's like, no. You do heroin when you've already started. You have the option right now.
I think it's more like I'm gonna get into cocaine in like 2008. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like you kind of miss the boat. It's kind of not what it used to be.
Well, the difference is that cocaine is fun.
True.
And League of Legends is not. Just don't do League of Legends, kids.
I saw some interesting stats recently about how apparently the success of the Netflix series Arcane, which people tell me is very good. I haven't watched it. It's like a League of Legends.
It is. It's really good animation. I didn't watch season 2. Season 1 was neat. It's a fine show.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the point I was getting at was I saw some stats recently. Apparently, they checked the metrics, and the success of Arcane has not actually really done much of anything for like the amount of people playing League of Legends. It's gotten some people at the company speculating that they might have hit like the market cap. Like it's fully possible that everybody who like plays video games already has an opinion about League of Legends, and like either they played it and they're playing it still, or they played it and they don't like it, or they just know like it's not for them. Like there's nobody left who doesn't really already have an opinion about League of Legends, so they're thinking like, oh, we can't really grow this game much more, so we're just going to take stuff from like the League of Legends IP and use it to launch new things, because we're not going to get any bigger than it already is, which seems like,
Sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that's very funny to me.
Yeah, they were making a fighting game based on it, apparently, but like, I don't know, it's Riot, so it's gonna be fucking dog shit.
Yeah, I've heard many things. I think they are gonna make like a few $1 billion if they ever get the team together to make an MMO, like go after the Warcraft or FF14 market. But I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of that, by the way, one of the games I've played the least this year, in spite of logging in quite often and a new expansion coming out over the summer, I haven't played a lot of Final Fantasy 14. I feel like it's become one of those games where like a new patch will come out and I'll do the new thing for like a few days, and like maybe sometimes I'll log in to like do my daily bullshit for like 15 minutes or whatever. But for the most part, I'm like, man, I'm only logging in to like keep the house that I got in the game. And recently I've been kind of like struggling money wise, and like for the first time in like almost 10 years, just a few days ago before we're recording this, I unsubbed to FF14, and
wow.
I don't know, dude. I think I'm okay with potentially losing my house. Maybe I'll get back into it. I had like 2 or 3 friends who were like, "Hey, I'll pay your sub for a while if you want." And I was like, I appreciate it, but like, man, I feel bad taking like even like 10-15 bucks from somebody just to like log in like for 15 minutes a week or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah. No, when I used to play very briefly, that was the same thing. Like I wouldn't even play this game because honestly, I don't think it's like a bad game. It's not for me. I don't like tap targeting MMOs. I don't like doing chores in games, and but I kept my sub for a while because my sister and her husband at the time gave me a shit ton of gil to buy a house, and it was cool to like trick out this house or whatever, and then I just stopped playing the game because I don't want to. But then I was like, oh, I got to keep the sub and I got to log in sometimes to keep my house, and it's like, and I eventually just let it go.
Yeah, it's a little rough. So like at the moment there's like a 45-day like timer where like if you don't go inside of your house for 45 minutes if you don't go into your house at least once in 45 days in the game, then you'll lose it and it'll go back on the market for somebody else to get in that game. And sometimes throughout the year there'll be like, oh, a big disaster in real life or whatever, where the devs of the game will like pause the housing timer so that people people can like sort their shit out in real life. I know they paused the housing timer in like North American servers earlier this year with like the hurricanes in like Florida or whatever, and I think they're it's paused at the moment, but it's gonna unpause soon. So at the moment, it's like, if I have the math correct, I think I have until like late February until I actually lose my house, even though I've unsubbed like a few days ago. So it's like, am I gonna have enough money to like just like resub to the game and have some new stuff to do after like a patch drops like by then? And the answer is probably, but I don't know. It's the game I'm playing least this year, because I feel like, yes, I am logging in and playing the game technically, but I'm really not doing anything. So
yeah. For sure. I get that. I mean, don't let them make some artificial scarcity like make you
Oh, it's too late. I've been subscribed for like 10 years, so
yeah, but I mean, it's never too late to put the pipe down.
I don't know. I think the whale blood has already replaced all of my human blood. I think I belong to the sea.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, either way, we'll see. Next question. I think it's your turn.
Yeah, so Protagon asks, most interesting topic to research this year.
Okay, I assume this is for the show, so I have a few favorite episodes that we did.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll start this one off, and I think this was this year. But oops.
I think most of our episodes that we've ever done have been in the past year, so.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of Uncut and Untossed.
That was a really good one. That was. I'm a little bummed that it didn't do like better numbers than I thought it would. I think maybe we were a little too subtle with the title. Maybe we should have just made the title like Stone tosses a cuck or something like that.
Stone tosses foreskin, or just like inactivists or something. But yeah, I think of that one because actually at Christmas, my cousin told me that the what were they called again? The fucking
bloodstained men or something like that.
Yeah, the bloodstained men. Yeah, the guys who have the all white outfits with like fake blood on their crotches to talk about like circumcision.
It's like a velvet piece of cloth like cut out in like a blood splatter shape.
Yeah. And apparently they demonstrate like around where I live a bunch. So I gotta see that. I hope they're back, and once it warms up a little bit,
you gotta be our man on the ground. We gotta get some live reporting done.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody needs to take the role of Andrew Callahan now that he's come out as a sex pest.
Yeah, and also now that that Crip Mac is in prison, I think. Yeah.
Rip.
Shame about that. Right. So one of my favorite episodes that we did, I don't think it was really research, because it was more just like one very amusing article that we found, but it was the episode we did about the Mensa guys and how it's just like a big club full of weirdos or whatever, and like the guy in like the chainmail armor.
Yeah. And that article was enlightening for sure.
Yeah, and this other one, I don't know if I can call it research, because like I had no idea we were gonna stumble upon it like before the episode. It just, you already know what I'm talking about probably. Yeah. It was the episode we did about like Uber Eats and like delivery service apps or whatever and stuff like that. And we were just like going through like this one Redditor's comments when we found out he's like a Thailand visiting like sex pad or whatever, and he was writing all these posts about like, yeah, I just fell in love with this lady boy, and we had a great time together. I can't wait to go back to Thailand or some shit. And I think we teased like we should do like a follow-up episode, and we haven't yet, but I think that'll be at the top of our list for next year.
Yeah, we gotta check in on that guy.
Mm-hmm. I think I remember his username. I think it was something goofy like Red Rider or something like that, because it reminded me of the fucking BB gun from the Christmas movie.
Yes. Yeah, we'll check into that. Stay tuned, folks.
That was probably like the wildest tangent we've ever had on the show, if I'm honest.
Yeah, we went down a rabbit hole there. That was a good one.
That was just crazy.
Fucking Reddit, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah. We've only got a couple left, so maybe we'll be a little bit quicker, but let's see. We've got another question from Snacky, who asks, biggest disappointment this year, and I had to really think about this one.
Yeah, well, the one that came to mind for me is I was applying for Italian citizenship, and I did qualify after going through like all sorts of fucking forums and all this bullshit. And then, so I got a bunch of documents about my great grandfather, who's like my oldest like Italian citizen ancestor, and I got a bunch of documents, and like right after I sent this guy I hired in Italy to send me like my great grandfather's birth records, I found out that they just like this was on the books, but they just recognize this law where like if your ancestor naturalized when like their child, your next ancestor, was a minor, then they lost their citizenship. So now it's Jover for me now, which sucks because I spent like a couple €100 on this or whatever, but there are people who have spent like $10,000 or more, and they got right to the end, and then like they applied at a consulate and they were like, no, new law, bye. And man, I really feel for them, because like that was a kick in the sack for me. Not that I care that much, but it's like it would be cool to have an EU passport. But
I feel like if you guys are ever feeling a little bit too liberal in any way, and you need to re-radicalize yourself in any manner, just like look up anything related to immigration, and it's like, man, it's fucked up what we do to make people to make it hard for people to live where they want or move across borders or whatever.
Yeah, if you're ever like pro immigration laws and you're like, well, we gotta go try to live in another country where like you or anything involving getting a visa or something like that, and have fun with that shit, man. You'll see what it's like a Kafka-esque Catch-22 like type of just fucking dystopian bureaucracy of the most incompetent and fucking sadistic motherfuckers, just like putting waves and waves of just pointless hoops for you to jump through to just like get something that does not negatively affect the country that you're in at all. But yeah,
there's something to be said about how like devils and Dungeons and Dragons are like lawful aligned, and how like there are some people who have a vision of hell where it's just like endless bureaucracy and like running around in circles and filling out paperwork. And I think I think I understand that fully.
Oh yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot to be said about immigration in the coming days, because there's been some very funny conflicts on the internet all about that we got to talk about soon.
Teaser. Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun. Biggest disappointment for me this year, obviously, the big boring answer is like how the election went. Not necessarily for any political reasons, but those suck too. But more because Trump won the election, now it's like, well, the fucking like cultural malaise dead zone of 2016 will continue for a few years longer before the world can finally move on from all this like anti-woke SJW like whinging about culture war bullshit. It's like, well, we'll get through it eventually. We'll eventually know a world free of this bullshit again at some point, but not today.
Yeah, we'll either hear hogs oinking and waving their fists in the air, or just like Orange Man bad. Can you believe this?
I've been getting so many of those motherfuckers following me on bluesky. It's just like these follow back accounts that are like, yeah, I have like 30,000 followers and I'm following like 100,000 accounts, and oh yes, Briar, I want to follow you. I'm actually interested in your art. Like, fuck you. No, you're not. And I just block these people.
It's like the blue wave people.
Yeah, the blue wave. I actually have this fucking crackpot theory that I'm not happy with, but As some people know, I've been using the online handle Absentia with a little blue heart emoji for the last couple years because, you know what, my little OC character is blue, and I just think the heart emoji is cute. So I was like, oh, I'll make that like my little personal brand on the internet. And now I'm realizing, like, oh god, do people see just like any blue emoji and just think, oh, I'm one of the fucking like DNC, like hashtag proud liberal, hashtag never Trump, like sort of people? And I'm like, I don't want to give this up, but I think that might be why some of them are latching on to me.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. That's a bummer. As for a more interesting answer, one of my big disappointments this year, I think we talked at some point, it wasn't like a full episode, about how the company that owns Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast, they've had so many controversies. And I remember like a year or something ago, everybody was like, oh, D&D sucks now. We can't support this company. We're going to make our own D&D with blackjack and hookers and blah, blah, blah. And all these like smaller publishers were like hyping up their own games that were going to be like the new D&D killer or something like that. And now like a year later, looking at everything that's come out either as like a released product or like a playable like beta version or whatever in 2024, I just feel like all of these games are mid as hell. I think none of them are like really that remarkable. I've had a few friends tell me one or two of them are like okay, but it's just like, man, this company is like super fucking incompetent, and they just like really shot themselves in the foot and like burnt all their goodwill. And I think the new like D&D 2024 stuff, I think it's been kind of dog shit. And I just feel like, is nobody capable of like capitalizing off of this? And I think their answer is no. I think I've been thoroughly like disappointed by like everyone trying to make something better than D&D in spite of D&D being like the worst it's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a fun group of people.
It's great. It's super amazing. I'm having a mild time.
That's a good way to put it. Just a nice mild time.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get through these last ones maybe a little bit quickly. Clam asks, oh, this might be one of my favorite questions. Fuck. Clam asks, if you could give one historical figure HRT, who would it be and why? Could be a funny or a serious reason.
Mansa Musa.
Who is that?
This is a dude who traveled from Mali, I think. And just handed out gold so much that it like destabilized the entire economy of like Africa and Arabia.
Oh my god!
During his travels,
that's crazy.
Ever heard about?
No, I've never heard about this. My answer was going to be
he was like the richest person in history. This is like the 13th or 14th century or some shit.
Okay, I need to do some historical reading. My answer was going to be H.P. Lovecraft, because I think horror would like never be the same after that if one of the biggest like cosmic horror people was like actually a trans woman this whole time. It's especially funny too because I feel like, I don't know, I've talked about this before about how I do think a lot of trans people in general are kind of drawn towards this whole like body horror thing for obvious reasons, or like the cosmic horror of being seen as something other than human or something like that. And I think, man, when you read about the life of H.P. Lovecraft and how like turbo racist he was, even by like the standards of like the early like 1900s or some shit like that, it would just be like 1,000 times funnier if he was like also a trans woman in that era.
It would probably make him more racist, honestly. Like,
yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe he would be like one of those like 4chan anime profile people with like the femboy Astolfo or whatever the other character is. I don't even remember. Just one of those people, but like in the early 1900s. Yeah.
I don't know why I picked Mansa Musa. It was just first person. I didn't think about this question beforehand, so it was the first person that popped into my head. But I'm sticking with it. God damn it!
I think Lovecraft is my funnier answer. But I was also thinking, does it count as historical if like they're still alive and like actively doing things? Because I'm thinking, trans Vladimir Putin would also be incredibly funny, just because I look at like how much like chaos Russia sows across the world with like the fucking like internet fucking psyops and like sowing division and whatever on social media. And like I know people who are like I mean, I don't know them personally, but I've encountered people who are like, oh, I'm pro Russia on like the geopolitical world stage or whatever. And like they're some of the most like unhinged, like completely unintelligible like political cranks or whatever. So it would just be like a million times funnier if like the mastermind behind all this like chaos and conflict around the world was also like an evil dommy trans woman.
and I'm just trying to empower I'm trying to empower trans queens. So I'm saying Mansa Musa, richest person in history, Putin, like a powerful despot.
Probably like debatably the richest guy in the world. I know people say it's Elon Musk, but like I don't know. I think when it comes to Russia, like a lot of that is like fucking oligarch, like dark money. Like there's.
Well, I was talking about Mansa Musa, not Putin. He doesn't have any money.
Well, I don't know. It's a whole complicated thing where Russia's like power comes from. All that I don't know. We're not politics experts on this show.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah. Let's move along.
Yeah, next one. Another one from Figment. Sets of all sets that do not contain themselves daughter, or God creating a rock so heavy he himself cannot lift its son.
I gotta go with the latter. I think there's something very interesting about the whole like, oh, it's something that exists that was made by a god. That's just, I don't know. I'm kind of running out of energy. I'm kind of restating it, but I think that line just goes a little bit harder.
Yeah, I'm gonna take set of all sets that do not contain themselves daughter, because the latter is a philosophical argument created by men about something divine, whereas the former is about like a philosophical paradox created by men about something that's created by men. So that daughter would be so deranged that that she might make some cool music at least.
Yeah, but I could put the godson into a dress.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
there we go. That
all explains it.
It all comes back to that at the end of the day, folks.
Who you can feminize. Although the set of all sets that do not contain themselves daughter would be a they them. So like you could feminize them even if they were like AFAB.
That is true.
Yeah.
This question is not on the list, but I want to read it anyway. In the Discord, Snacky asks, female daughter or male son? And I just want to take a moment to say, like, I don't know what you're trying to like do here with this like sick, twisted like gender ideology you're bringing into like our house. Like I straight up told you, Snacky, that I think this comment should be like ban-worthy. Like we tried to have a good time on these Q&A episodes, and you have to come in here with this bullshit. Like, just do a little bit better. Like, take this seriously, please.
Sit down and listen, Sweaty. Just do better. But
yeah, there we go. As for the real next question, second to last one, Protagon asks, least favorite channel on YouTube. We've already said it before. For me, it's gotta be fucking Asmongold. I'm so fucking sick of this asshole.
That's a good one. Just because I've been the thing is, when I log into the YouTube account, I always see his shit and like, ooh man,
it's so fucking bad.
I was gonna say Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast like objectively is more damaging to society than Asmongold, but like, ooh, who would I rather buy a nice meal for and definitely not like do anything malicious to?
I feel like the thing about Mr. Beast, right, is like, yes, he's contemptible, but he's also basically just like a like a hollow vessel for making the number go up. Like there's nothing underneath the surface. And you could say,
Yeah.
yeah, you could say a similar thing about Asmongold, about how he doesn't actually like mean anything that he's talking about or saying. But also, he's not an empty vessel, because if you look inside of him, you are just going to find filth. You're going to find like dead rats and like blood-stained walls and like missing teeth. And I think that that's foul and disgusting, and I think something should be done about that.
Yeah, yeah. We could split the difference. Both of them, gulag.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
They will never see the kingdom of God.
Yeah, beryllium, sentenced to 20 years in the beryllium mines, without PPE.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so the last one. This is from Iggy. Most recent hyperfixation / rabbit hole that wasn't for the show.
Oh, I have a good one for this, but we are definitely going to go a little bit over time, because I took some notes. I have a very nerdy answer.
All right, I have a less important answer. I bought a car recently, and I've just been looking to, like, kind of like improve or fix random minor things with it. And I've been on forums with car people posting, and like a lot of them are nice, some of them are deranged, and I have learned a lot about things that I don't really think I would have learned about otherwise. Learned a lot about like wheel size and offsets and shit. Yeah, like that's cool. I wouldn't recommend going down that rabbit hole.
That was
hyperfixation. That's not that important.
That was kind of me a couple years ago when I was like shopping for parts to build my PC. Like normally I don't watch this stuff at all, but I spent like 6 months where I would just like constantly watch like fucking like Linus Tech Tips videos all day. Yeah. And you can say what you will about Linus, but I did learn a lot about building PCs from watching.
No, he's a piece of shit, but it is good. Like it is good. Like informative content. I think he himself is a fucking scumbag, and the way he runs his business is shitty, and I've always had bad vibes about him, even before the Gamers Nexus video and the other allegations came out. But the content that the people he hires makes is good. A lot of those don't like that it's tied to him, and he has control over it.
A lot of those like informative educational videos, one where like somebody else just on his team building the PC, and also I didn't watch Linus exclusively. I watched a lot of channels that are like in that orbit doing the same type of content. But I got really into that for a while for practical reasons.
Yes.
As for my more recent hyperfixation, so I have like a weekly kind of movie night, like get together thing with some friends. We call it Weeb Club, because we mostly watch like anime movies or like series or whatever, and they're mostly good ones. And just by total coincidence, like we didn't really plan this out ahead of time. I didn't know who made each of the movies, but we've been watching a lot of the films from the same director over and over recently. So my big hyperfixation as of late has been the filmography of Mamoru Oshii, who you might know from such works as Ghost in the Shell, and he's done some other really good series. We watched some of the movies from him we've watched recently. We watched Angel's Egg, which is like a 1985, very like kind of high concept, kind of artsy movie. It was a collab with Amano, and you can really tell that by looking at the art. It's just a lot of really like surreal landscapes. There's barely any dialogue in the movie. It's great. We watched all 3 of the Pat Labor movies. Those are in 89, 93, and 01. They're like a mecha anime series, like with big robots and shit, but
Classic.
it's very grounded. They don't actually use the robots for most of it. The Pat Labor movies they're filmed more like a police serial thing, where it's like about this like police department that investigates like robot crimes or whatever around the city. And like most of the movie is like I said, it's like a police serial. It's like very slow. They're like investigating, they're looking into things, they're talking to people, and then they'll have like a big climatic moment near the end where it's like a very cool, well animated scene where like the robots do cool bullshit. It's great. Like I said, Ghost in the Shell, we watched that earlier this year. We watched Jinro, the Wolf Brigade. I can't speak. It's like a very bleak, like authoritarian dystopia movie about like Japan gets occupied by like Nazi Germany for a few years, and there's this like soldier guy who like goes through some depressing bullshit. It's a very sad watch. And the last one we watched was the Sky Crawlers, which came out in 2008. It's like a war movie about like pilots and stuff. It's hard to talk about because like there's some very big reveals and spoiler things that I don't want to ruin. You guys should watch it. I guess just to sum up all my thoughts about this guy's movies, if you want to like anime, but it's a little too like, oh, like all the shonen bullshit where everybody's just like loudly announcing their attacks and it's like bright flashing colors or whatever. I love a lot of these movies because it's kind of what I talked about lately about like this stuff is hard to like make nowadays because it's like a lot of very slow burn kind of movies. There's like a lot of moments where like the characters are just like kind of like fucking around or just like talking quietly or like introspecting on things, and it's like it's still super well animated and there are big like climatic like payoff moments or whatever about that. But it's like, I don't know, if you think media is too fucking ADHD fucking TikTok brain rot these days, I've been having a blast watching all these like 80s and 90s shows. I don't know, all of them are great. Check out this guy's work. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I know Pat Labor and Ghost in the Shell, and some of these other ones I've heard of before. I didn't know the name of the dude. I definitely want to check out that one with the Amano art. My mom for Christmas bought me a couple Amano prints from his online store, and I'm looking at one right now, and they are fucking dope, dude. He is such a fucking brilliant artist. Like everything he does is
it's so good.
Perfect.
This
perfect.
Yeah, this isn't Mamoru Oshii, who I was just talking about, but I did also, speaking of Amano, I watched both of the Vampire Hunter D movies this year as well.
So good.
They're fucking good. They're just so
just a vibe,
just
man. Just a vibe. And that's I don't know. I feel like such a boomer when I'm like, I only like anime from like the 80s and 90s and maybe early 2000s, but like I haven't seen anything since then that just like that evoked that same kind of like I don't know, the same kind of vibe. I don't really know how to describe it. I'm not trying to like do a media analysis right now, but like when I think about something like that, it's just like, yeah, it's completely different from any of the new shit that somebody's been like, oh, this series is really good. And I'm like, yeah, it's not.
Yeah. There are some important disclaimers I want to drop because I do recommend all of these movies that I just watched. They were great. I had a great time with all of them. But the first big disclaimer, if you get into Pat Labor, you should know, I watched the 3 Pat Labor movies and they were great. There's also like a manga and like several like anime series. I did not watch those, but important thing to know, Pat Labor is like a weird franchise because like the original manga and like the animated series or whatever, they are like very lighthearted, like kind of comedy, kind of like chill Saturday morning show kind of cartoons or whatever. It's very light from what I've seen. I haven't watched them myself, but that's what I've heard. Whereas the Pat Labor movies are very much like hard sci-fi police serial, very very serious kind of stuff. It's completely different vibe, so check out one or both depending on whatever your preferences are. And 2, honestly, I think maybe my favorite movie of the ones I watched, the Skycrawlers 2008, that one is really fucking good. Go into that, do not look up anything about it going in, and it'll be worth it because I don't know. I'm usually one of those people that's like, oh, spoilers don't really bother me. I don't care if it's like all about the twist or whatever, but like, I'm not even saying this like a big twist or something, but I do think the way that it's like a slow burn and that they drop new information that like recontextualizes different things at different points in the movie, I don't know. I think you will have a much better time if you go into that one knowing absolutely nothing about it, other than I guess it's about fighter jets. So
fighter jets. There you go.
Yeah,
you heard it here first.
It's
folks.
great. Yeah. Anyway, all of those movies are great. Big ups to Mamoru Oshii. Love this guy's work. He is just involved in so many good things. Like, everybody knows Ghost in the Shell, but you guys might not know some of the other ones. So check all of those out.
Check them
that's
out.
been my big obsession. So
stop watching izakais and grow up and watch some real media. God damn it.
yeah, exactly. All right. Anyway, that wraps up our Q&A for this week. We went a little bit over time, but it was worth it for me to autistically rant about anime in a way that I don't usually get to do on this show.
yeah. No, it was good. Really good wave of questions from everyone involved. This was quality. Rock on. And then
everybody except Snacky, please do better next time.
Sit your white ass down and listen.
I'm just kidding. We love all of you guys. Let's shout out the patrons and then wrap it up.
All right, so here are the patrons in no particular order. Well, we got to start with our boy Protagon, who is in the juicy pilot program of the Project $20. You're gonna get your sticky soon, homie. And then we also have our Sinister Six sweeties. We got Clam, Trevor Stilson, Walker, Woke Baby, Trash Bins, Dimbus, Braid Zero, Weasel, Nick, Nilly, Heresy, and that is fucking it, baby. Thank you all, as always, for your continued love and support, and for listening to this absolute banger of a podcast. If you are not part of the Patreon, we still love you, just a little bit less. That's all.
Yeah, for real. I do just kind of want to add like a little bit of a serious note right at the end, guys. I know the holidays can be tough for a lot of people. I know money is tight. So, you know what? Support us if you can afford it. It means the world to us. We really appreciate it. We're going to roll out that new like little $2 tier. If you want to give a little something, but maybe times are hard and like $6 is like a big ask or something. Those bonus episodes are still going to be there whenever you return to them, or like whenever you want to check it out for the first time. It means a lot to us. Just hope all of you have had a great holiday season, or I hope you've gotten through it and you're thugging it out. If it was not so great, we keep it real. It's been a year. It's certainly been one of the years of all time, and we'll see you guys next year in 2025, assuming we get this episode out before then.
One more rotation around the fucking sun, baby. We did it. We did it,
Reddit. All right. Well, good night, everyone.
Yep. Good fight. Good night.